Hi guys, it's Bunnymon and welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. This one is actually AEW reaction. It's called the Sad Decline of AEW and oh my god. I just want to see what the input here and why is this a thing. I want to share a thing or two as well. So let's go and react.
But is it game over for All Elite Wrestling, the promotion that once had capacity crowds and knocked NXT from Wednesday to Tuesday nights? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the sad decline of AEW. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website,
Maybe I can turn the
Wrestlelamia.com.
subtitles for this one.
So how did it come to this? Well, poor ticket sales, dismal ratings for Rampage and Collision, and reports of gloom and doom in AEW. What has caused AEW from a viable alternative to WWE to a promotion that has become a laughingstock to fans and one whose survival seems in jeopardy? Well, let's look at how things went from the penthouse to the outhouse for AEW, just how bad things really are and whether AEW can turn things around. Nothing succeeds like success. And for some fans, it's difficult to recall how groundbreaking and successful AEW was. The promotion was a huge gamble considering it had no TV deal and would have been the first significant promotion in the US since WCW's demise. AEW wasn't afraid to be different, bringing in wrestlers many casual fans were unaware of, but who showed plenty of potential from their runs in smaller territories. AEW's first pay-per-view Double or Nothing was a sellout and brought in excellent pay-per-view numbers, despite fans used to paying $9.95 to get WWE pay-per-views on the WWE network as part of the streaming service's overall content. While more than a few fans scoffed at the likelihood of AEW's success, the promotion not only landed a TV deal on TNT, the former home of WCW Nitro, it crushed the WWE's attempts to sap its ratings by airing NXT at the same time. For time, AEW could do no wrong. The promotion's success with Dynamite led to TNT extending its original deal to 5 years and adding much needed money into its coffers. AEW programming was exciting and featured a variety of styles and wrestlers. Fans and wrestlers tired of the moribund WWE product began looking at AEW as a solid alternative to the WWE.
Interesting.
It wasn't soon enough where wrestlers saw it as an alternative for employment and were ready to jump there when their contracts expired. While AEW had its problems, particularly in the women's division, which was weak enough that some critics argue AEW put a hiatus on it until its wrestlers were better trained, the company was a wild success. Not even the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic seemed to slow it down. AEW succeeded thanks to its fresh booking, use of factions, and a willingness to book tag team wrestling as more than a sideshow attraction. AEW did its best to connect with fans through social media, cultivating increased interest. The promotion was doing well for itself, bringing in solid numbers for pay-per-views and attracting some of wrestling's biggest names to the promotion. So what went wrong? A slow but steady decline. Businesses can go belly up due to various circumstances such as mismanagement, overexpansion, bad investments, a failure to comprehend important changes in the market, complacency, and many others. However, a successful business typically doesn't go out of business overnight. It's a process that slowly builds momentum, eventually taking an owner by surprise. Often they don't know what hit them, even though the warning signs were there from the very start. In the case of AEW, there have been warning signs for some time. First is a failure to grow its audience. AEW Dynamite is a show that performs consistently well. Wednesday nights are a good night for the show as the WWE runs neither of its main roster shows against it, well, at least for now. It's also developed a core audience willing to stay with it. Unfortunately, AEW has been unable to grow its audience beyond 1 million viewers. While AEW continues to perform well in the ratings in terms of coming in at the top 5 of cable television, it's not appealing to all wrestling fans available. AEW has shown discipline in sticking to the fundamentals that built its initial success, but it needs to consider finding a way to keep its existing fans and bring in new ones. The second is a bloated roster. One of AEW's biggest problems is its bloated roster. Tony Khan's hoarder-like mentality toward acquiring any and all talent released by WWE has led to a highly underutilized roster. Since AEW
you pay them so much money. It reminds me of like Mixer when it came out, which was a competitor for Twitch, and they bought all of these top streamers thinking that that will grow their company by bringing those streamers there and thinking that the viewers are gonna follow. But unfortunately, it didn't work like that. Like, it's not you cannot just buy a wrestler, pay money for the wrestler, and think that automatically all the fame and the success that that wrestler made is gonna transfer to your company. Like, yeah, some people will do, like, there will be a percentage of people who will follow, but the majority will not. And because a whole company is not based on just one streamer or one WWE wrestler that is famous. Like, there is so much into it. And once you already put so much money into that wrestler, you don't want to invest in other things. I feel like with AEW, they should have also, like, really, if they are using a big wrestler, like, use him to also promote your smaller wrestlers, because at the end of the day, you will have to count on the when I say smaller, like less famous ones, you will have to count on them because they are the ones that you can keep for longer time, you know?
A private company, it's unknown how much they pay for its talent. While that's unknown, we do know that AEW has so much talent that it's not used because there's not enough TV time to utilize them. This has created a major problem for viewers and wrestlers, as it's rare that anyone but a top-level star gets any consistent booking. Now, this problem isn't unique to AEW, as Triple H has found himself in a similar situation. Still, in AEW's case, the amount of wrestlers it has under contract is mind-boggling. Thirdly, overexpansion. AEW's overloaded roster isn't the only example of excess in the company. AEW's initial success led the company to launch its own wrestling game. This costly and lengthy process produced an average game with very average sales. Granted, it was an ambitious undertaking, but it was unnecessary so early on in AEW's run, and in hindsight, a clear example of AEW's reach exceeding its grasp. Another problem is AEW's decision to go ahead with running its Saturday night show Collision. On paper, it seemed like a good prospect, as Warner Bros. Discovery would pay AEW additional money. The promotion would have another 2 hours to air content on cable TV rather than YouTube, and it seemed like a possible solution for the company's problem between CM Punk and his detractors. Putting Punk and wrestlers friendly to him on one show could keep any disgruntled parties apart, giving Collision the added attraction of Punk anchoring the show. But the problem with Collision is that it had a terrible time slot, as it often competes against sports programming that limits Collision's audience. The loss of CM Punk has only worsened Collision's ratings. Fourth, its problem with big men. One of the many ways AEW distinguished itself from the WWE was its willingness to utilize various styles of wrestling: strong style, lucha libre, traditional mat wrestling, and more. The variety of styles created exciting matches and variety except for one area: the use of big men. While AEW has several big men working on the company, such as Wardlow, Lance Archer, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Big Bill, they've been primarily used to get over smaller wrestlers, although this appears to be changing. AEW's booking of its big men made it seem like the company wanted to ensure no one confused the promotion with the WWE, where big men with little wrestling ability tended to get undeserved pushes. This refusal to book big men well has hurt AEW, as seen by its short-sighted booking of Wardlow, an agile and talented big man whose popularity was white hot after he left MJF. It's difficult to recall such a hot act being so mishandled by the company. Fifth, injuries are us. Another persistent problem for AEW is its unwillingness to rein in many of its performers' penchant for turning wrestling matches into glorified human demolition derbies. While wrestling has evolved and will continue to, AEW's performers' hazardous activities in the ring have led to far many injuries. The high injury rate isn't limited to high-flying and daredevils like the Lucha Brothers or Darby Allin. For example, Bryan Danielson continues to work a strong style despite a scary medical history and a tendency to get hurt. Although AEW has issued directives limiting certain moves or requiring wrestlers to obtain permission to use certain maneuvers, AEW's injuries show no sign of stopping. Number 6. AEW's CM Punk problem.
Again?
If anything epitomizes AEW's management problem, it's the company's handling of CM Punk and the rumors of Punk and other wrestlers going into business for themselves on camera and backstage. While we may never know the whole story of 2022's All-In Post-Media Scrum Battle Royal, where Punk, Ace, Steel, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega had some sort of dust-up, Tony Khan's inability to keep things from reaching the boiling point shows his lack of leadership. Allegations that Khan acts too much like wrestlers' friends and not enough like a boss may be warranted. Chris Jericho's recent comments that everyone in AEW needs to work under Vince McMahon for 6 months are another sign AEW's president lacks leadership skills. And too many C-listers. AEW doesn't have a problem with its booking, it has a problem with who books it. AEW's booking is solid for the most part, with the promotion booking storylines that develop over time but typically don't drag. The promotion has created compelling characters played by people who can perform fantastic matches. AEW is brimming with many main eventers or wrestlers who could be main eventing with some TV time, uppercarders and mid-carders. For some reason, AEW think fans are interested in its mid-card talent. Traditionally, a promotion is wise to use wrestlers on the undercard to develop
Well,
talent.
I honestly
However,
think they are doing this to make sure that their mid card becomes top card eventually, so they don't have to rely on all the top cards. You know, like they are one security and insurance, and they are trying to push all of their other wrestlers, even if people are not interested in them. But to be honest, like you just need a couple of new talents that are really good, and for them to be in a company for really long, and for you to pay attention to them for really long and devote for to each other the time in order for them to become someone. Just putting it in our faces will not make us like it. That's what I mean.
AEW has so many main event and uppercard talents, mainly relatively young, that it doesn't need to use wrestlers who fancy as an enhancement talent. It's downright criminal that AEW underutilizes talents like Miro, Andrade, Lance Archer, and others, and
Andrade
chooses
is now
to feature
in
matches
WWE,
only the
right?
most devoted fans want to see. And judging by the ratings for Rampage and Collision, the number is dropping. But is AEW profitable? A critical factor in the equation is whether AEW is profitable. The company boasts of revenue gains, but as we pointed out, how much is the promotion bringing in compared to how much it's spending? AEW's roster has to be expensive, and it's hard to imagine the company is making money renting venues when they are full of empty seats.
Oh no.
Fortunately,
that's
AEW
so
is bringing
sad.
money in from its pay-per-views. Fans seem committed
Yeah.
to purchasing additional shows beyond the traditional quarterly shows. Nonetheless, it isn't as certain whether AEW is making a profit yet. That isn't unusual, as starting businesses often deal with low profits or operating at a loss. The question is just how much money AEW is losing and how much longer Tony Khan can
Yeah.
expect his father to bankroll him. One thing's for sure,
Well,
the WWE smells blood.
at
History
least
has
he
shown
has
that
his father who can like back him up eventually with time, and stuff. He can make some mistakes overall, but yeah, like you don't know eventually what's gonna happen, especially with Corona. I think that didn't help at all. But of course the business is still going because he has the backing of his father. But I guess if he didn't, like, who knows what would have happened with AEW.
the WWE is always ready to take out a competitor when the opportunity arises. Those familiar with the WWE's business practices knows Vince McMahon's ruthless aggression phrase is much more than a storyline. McMahon will take any advantage, and right now AEW needs to be mindful of its vulnerability. Whether it's booking a wrestling
Triple
show
H
against
is
Dynamite, which is a
maybe nice.
possibility as it's unknown whether Raw will stay on Monday nights, or which night NXT will air on when it moves to the CW, or trying to woo AEW's current TV partner Warner Bros. Discovery into acquiring Raw, the WWE knows that time is on its side. But is there any hope?
See, this is
A
what you
recent
have to
report
deal
from
with
Dave
in
Meltzer
America.
suggests a sense of pessimism in AEW due to the ratings woes and poor ticket sales. While part of the problem is perception, as it's easy to see bad ratings and empty seats, but wrestlers may not be seeing intangibles such as TV rights or pay-per-view money. AEW is in a bad spot. Just how bad remains unknown. We know their ticket sales have been rubbish lately, and their Friday and Saturday shows struggle weekly. However,
Sad.
history has repeatedly shown that promoters can take a company on life support and revive it. It was seen with the WWF when Vince McMahon adopted the Attitude Era to combat WCW's dominance with its New World Order fuel success. Ironically, the NWO storyline was just one, albeit a large component, of Eric Bischoff turning WCW around from a company that couldn't draw a few viewers or sell tickets. Bischoff faced many of the same problems Tony Khan faces. But what do you guys think? Is AEW on the decline? Let us know in the
I don't
comments
know.
down below, and I'll see you next
Things
time
can
with some
change.
more wrestling content.
Like, I feel like AEW definitely needs some luck at the moment with some pickers, like some wrestlers that they pick that they are not like top wrestlers, just smaller wrestlers that build a career from zero to hero on AEW itself. So they are legitimately like grateful to AEW for the career that they gave them, and they are humbled by it, and they're connected with each other. They just don't follow where the money takes them, and that is really hard to accomplish nowadays. I genuinely would not like to see AEW or any other company out there fail, because I personally think when there is competition, it's the best for the customers. That is us. As long as there is competition out there, there is not one company that can take advantage of us. And for people who are workers, like the colleagues and the workers and the actual wrestlers, for them itself, it is better to have competition and to have other companies that are on the same level as WWE, so WWE doesn't abuse them and they don't have anywhere else to go unless they want to destroy their career. So I would not like to see AEW fail anytime soon. I don't live in America. I only have www.network.com. I don't know if there is a similar company, a similar place where I can watch AEW content and subscribe to it. But unfortunately, that's the only way I can watch it. But you in America, you watch it online on different channels. So that is interesting. Yeah, like you plan your Sunday evening to watch at 8 p.m. Match or something, or an event from AEW or WWE. Like, yeah, that is cool. That brings me to back in the day when you would watch programs like that. Either way, everything for me is like online subscriptions and so like Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff like that I watch. I don't really scroll programs anymore. I guess it's not a thing anymore in Germany, at least. But yeah, back to this. I think that I personally would like to see AEW get up again and find its own roots and keep going forward and succeed more. But yeah, I'm not here to make money. I'm here to make friends. Tony Khan. Oh no, the biggest problem with AEW is Tony Khan. He is too focused wanting to be friends with the wrestlers rather than actually being a boss to said wrestlers. I personally do agree with that as well. Like, I watched a video about that where he started the company overall because he was a fan of wrestling and his father had the money, so why not? I don't think that will work for the company's benefit. I don't know if he is playing the company as like a hobby. Like, for him, it doesn't matter if it succeeds or not, because for Vince, it was a matter of kind of life or death. Like, not really, but like, he had to do it by himself. And once you put all your eggs in one basket in a company and you work so hard to make it successful, then it shows. And Vince McMahon was ruthless. Like, he was protecting his company like nothing else, because since day one, like, he was putting all of it into it, and he didn't have like a backup plan. As long as you have a backup plan and your father is so rich, I cannot relate. I don't know, but I guess that makes things different. Like, you're not really scared of bringing the company down with you. Like, you can always start again or do something else, and that is not good. That is not good at all. Oh, it seems WrestleMania 40 put the last nail on AEW's coffin. Oh shit. Like, literally, that's what I said. Like, I do not have time for AEW after what WWE is doing right now. Like, all my focus is in WWE right now until they start going down again. I'm like, okay, maybe it's time for AEW again, but not right now. Like, genuinely not. Like, they have to do something epic for me to be like, okay, WWE, just wait a second, let me pay attention to AEW. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Let me know in the comment down below, what do you think about AEW? Do you think Tony Khan, I think that's his name, or Khan, or I have no idea how to pronounce his last name, do you think he is the reason AEW is going down? What do you think the AEW needs to do to change things? And yeah, that's it. Share an opinion or two. Let's chit chat more about it in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I love your faces, and see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Bye!